All right, just getting into number 3. They're a little feisty for some reason. This is frame number 2. But yeah, check that out. That is a heavy, heavy frame. Easy to find right there at the top of the frame. She's another kind of two-tone one. The tip of her abdomen is a lot darker than the portion of her abdomen close to her thorax. All right, welcome back everybody. So hey, it is Saturday, May 10th, right at 1:30 in the afternoon. The temperature is 74 degrees, the humidity is about 45%, and this is going to be the beginning of the mid-May video. So I'm getting into the hives today much later than I initially planned to, mainly because it took the better part of the day for the temps to warm up to what they are right now. So for quite a few hives, 10 of them in fact, it's been about 15 days since the last inspection. And those hives are 24, 1, 2, 11, 14, 13, 5, 15, 25, and 8. And of those specifically, number 1, I need to determine if they have a laying queen. They were queen right last time in the form of eggs, but I just need to determine if she's still doing a good job. Number 2, I need to figure out if they're queen right. So the last inspection, they had 7 queen cells, very mature queen cells. So considering it's been about 15 days, it's been enough time for one of them to hatch, mate, return, and start laying. So for number 2 and a few others, I'm really just looking for eggs. Number 11, my note is they were queen right last time. They had eggs, but I didn't see the queen. So I'm gonna try to make an effort to find her, get her marked, and potentially clip one of her wings if that hasn't happened already. 14, almost the same as number 2. They had 5 mature queen cells last time. So same thing, it's been enough time for a queen to hatch, mate, return, and start laying. Number 13, let's see. My note says to check if they're queen right. I saw eggs last time, but they were pretty spotty. So just an overall inspection of them to see if anything's improved. Number 5, I need to figure out if they are queen right. I guess I let too much time pass. Hopefully I don't run into any problems, but I may need to move a frame or 2 from another colony into number 5 if there is absolutely no signs of a queen or any evidence that they're trying to make one. 15, there were signs of a new queen last time, meaning there were multiple eggs in a few cells, and then cells had 1 egg, which is a sign of a newly mated queen. So for 15, I'm just gonna try and find the queen, marker, clip a wing, kind of all the same things. Number 25 and 8, just routine inspections. And then as I finish the inspection side for any of the hives that I did not list, there are about 8 hives or 8 colonies that I really want to check to see what progress they've made since May 5th, so 5 days ago, because I added a deep box with 10 frames, new foundation that I heavily waxed. And those hives are 26, 17, 4, 3, 7, 9, and 10. So quite a bit to do. I have a few hours to do it. I also have tomorrow if anything rolls till the next day. But enough me yapping. Let me get suited up, the smoker lit, and let's get to it. Down here at 24, second frame. Nice amount of bees just from the initial impression. And I know this won't come up, but right over here, there's eggs. So the queen is moving between the 2 boxes, which I had no doubt that would happen. It's just a matter of giving them some time, or giving her time, I guess, right, to do so. So overall, yeah, they're doing just fine. Yeah, same on this side. Ton of eggs in all those open cells. I don't know if this is gonna come up, but if you can see that, that bee looks like it has green pollen. That's interesting. All right, down here at number 1, and like I was saying in the introduction, my notes were really just to make sure the queen has made it and started to lay. I found her last time I marked her, so I'm not really concerned with finding her this time. So this is frame number 3, and I mean, she is doing a fantastic job. There are eggs in every single cell. Some have just started to pupate, I believe that's the right term, into small larvae. The cells look nice and wet with royal jelly. So yeah, this hive's looking good and should have a ton of bees in the next few weeks. And that's not a bad looking frame either. Both sides. Okay, I'm just gonna go through the remaining 4 frames. If I find her, I'll show her to you. But that is all I'm looking for with this one. And not to mention their demeanor, extremely calm, which is nice. Same thing with this frame, a ton of open brood, practically all those cells that you see right there. Yeah, so they're looking good. Easy routine inspection. I'm gonna have to look back on my notes because we have a very nice size unmarked queen. So let me do all the usual things, cage her and get her marked and clip one of her wings. So that's interesting. So maybe I found her last time and I just wasn't sure if she had made it or started to lay, whatever my notes said. But okay, that kind of caught me off guard because I was, in my mind, I was looking for a marked queen, but there you have it. And she's doing a fantastic job. The outside frames are beautiful food frames, so yeah, I'm just gonna mark her, clip her wing, get her released. No concerns with this hive. All right, there you have it, marked and clipped. Every time I can, if I can clip the left wing, I clip about half of it. So like usual, just gonna give her maybe a minute or 2 to dry off and then we'll get her released. There we go. Perfect. All right, down here at number 2, this is the hive that had 7 queen cells. So obviously I'm gonna see if they have any signs they're queen right by now, which is 2 weeks later after finding the 7 cells. But I just wanted to show you that. 3 supers. These 2 are basically full. This one maybe about a third or maybe 25%, but let's just go through these frames and hopefully they have a queen. I'm looking for eggs first, and if I can find her, I'll do the same thing as the previous hive, which is get her marked, clip her wing, and call it a day. All right, so this is frame number 3. Check this out. So it's been long enough to where I'd say that cell was chewed out. Who knows what happened to that one. There was another one here somewhere. And then on this side, that possibly hatched. There's really no way to tell at this point. But I am looking for eggs. That is the best and easiest thing to do at this point. But again, this is just the 3rd frame, so quite a few to go. All right, so I'm finishing up on the very last frame here, right? And the reason I'm checking this is because I have found queens on the last frame, the side that faces the outside of the hive, but that is not the case today. So no kidding, 7 queen cells 2 weeks ago. It looks like they've all hatched, and I do not see any signs they've become queen right just yet. So I may just give them another week, because if they have a queen in here and how they're behaving kind of tells me they do have a queen, because they're pretty calm. Maybe she just hasn't made it yet. Maybe she recently hatched, hasn't made it just yet, or just hasn't started laying just yet. So I'm just gonna make a note of that and hive tracks to check this colony. Possibly I might just give them a few days. I might check them about mid. Down here at number 11, my note said I saw eggs last time, so this time I'm just looking for the queen. This is the very first very first frame, that is a completely full deep. The next one looks pretty much the same or close, right? Yeah, this side will be full in a month or so, and that side is a lot of pollen in the center, surrounded by food. I just wanted to show you all that, so hopefully I can find some eggs and perhaps find the queen, get her marked, and do all those things. But okay, capped brood, larva, all the things I want to see. This is probably a good frame to find eggs. Yep, sure enough. Okay, so they are queen right. I'm just going to take some time and try and find her. Oh, there she is right there. See her? Sometimes they blend in really, really well. She's doing a fantastic job. Alright, there we go. I just had to show this to you. This is the inside of the outside frame. So they have at least 2, maybe 3 completely full deep frames of food that I will most likely harvest, because honestly, why not? All right, there we go, marked and clipped. Give her a minute or 2 to dry off and get her released. All right, down here at number 14, which is another colony that has 3 mediums. 2 are extremely heavy, the third one's about halfway through. My notes for this colony is they had 5 queen cells last time, so hopefully it's a different story than the last hive that had 7 queen cells, and for some reason it looks like they are still not queen right. So again, hopefully that's not the case for 14, but I will not know until I get into this frame number 3. That indicates they had, or it had 2 queen cells. Obviously it's been enough time for that to look like it hatched, and that kind of looks like it hatched too. Probably not the case, but it doesn't look like it was chewed out, so we'll see. Let's see, frame number 4. Let's take a look together, see what this has going on. Not a whole lot because it is a new frame. Probably a good candidate to remove and wax, considering they're really not doing too much with it. All right, just finished going through all the frames, and surprisingly, no signs they're queen right. No eggs, no larva, no capped brood, no queen. So just like the other one, that to me is very interesting, that a hive can produce so many queen cells because they know they need a queen, and the probability is, to me, it's ridiculous that not one of those cells hatched, made it, and returned to the hive, given the amount of time it's been between inspections. So this is what I'm thinking, considering I have a few nukes in the yard from swarms that I need to get in the backyard, that I need to get moved back into the bee yard. And with how many frames in this colony are new, that I probably, it looks like I didn't wax, I just needed to, I made a split, I'm assuming, at some point, because there's so many new frames, or frames with new foundation, right? I think what I'm gonna do is use one of the swarms I recently caught, cage the queen in one of the JZBZ queen cages, move the 5 frames over into this one, take some of those frames that the bees really aren't doing anything with the foundation, and just combined one of the swarms with this colony. All right, down here at 13, my notes for last time was I found eggs. The pattern was kind of spotty, so I'm really just looking to see if they're queen right like most of them, but at least they had eggs last time. And I'm also happy to report they only had 1 super, which is pretty darn heavy, but I guess moving 1's better than moving 3. until you're talking about pulling large honey crops. Yeah, let me get into them. If I can find the queen, I'll show that to you, get her marked, clip the wing. But hopefully the brood pattern is looking a little better than last time. There she is right there. Look at that. Look how dark her tail is. That is her tail. The bottom of her abdomen. She is not wanting to be found. All right, here we go. Yeah, one more look. Look at the end of her abdomen. Pretty interesting. Yeah, she's in there. Marked and clipped. And that's an interesting looking queen. I've never seen one with the end of her abdomen dark. She has like a two-tone abdomen. It's pretty neat. All right, down here at number 5, finishing up. It looks like their situation has not changed, meaning they're not queen right. I probably should have taken action within the last 2 weeks. I may have just forgot about their details, but the reason I say that is it looks like they did not have the resources 2 weeks ago to become queen right. So just like 2 of the other colonies, this is another candidate to combine one of the recently caught swarms with. So that's the note that I'm going to add to Hive Tracks swarm combination candidate, or however I ended up phrasing it. I may need to add another deep box to them, because this bottom box with the 8 frames is pretty congested. A lot of nice food frames, but if I introduce one, I don't have space to introduce 4 or 5 frames from one of the recently caught swarms to this, with keeping all of the 8 frames that are nicely established, drawn out with wax, and like I said, a lot of food. So I may add a deep box to them, move the 5 frames over from one of the recently caught swarms, or in fact, the one swarm, I don't remember what number it is, but they are in a stacked, they're in a stacked nuke setup, just like I think number 20 was. I may just do that, whatever swarm that is, or whatever hive I think I numbered it as, colony. I think I may just use them, move the 10 frames from the 2 5-frame nukes into a 10-frame box and add it to number 5. And that'll give them a lot of bees. That'll get them queen right, plenty of frames with brood. The current box, as you saw, has plenty of food, which is fantastic. And that may just give them enough, well, what they need, right, to become queen right, and enough of a population boost to really finish filling out that medium box. And that also solves another problem I haven't really mentioned too frequently, but room. I am running out of room. The hive is configured, or I'm sorry, the hive stand is configured now with maybe 20-ish hives, and I have just enough space in between, as you can see, to work comfortably. I don't necessarily have room for the 3 or 4 swarms that are in pro nukes and stacked 5-frame nukes in the backyard. I don't have room for them out here, which is why I've been so slow at moving them from where I caught the swarm and then throughout the yard to ease them back into the bee yard here. So with how a few of the colonies are looking, meaning queenless still after about 2 weeks, and no resources to produce a queen, I think that's the best solution. So right now I'm at least 3 to include number 5 that y'all just saw. And I do have room for maybe 1 more nuke out here. So 3 of the 4 nukes in the backyard, or swarms, or whatever you want to call them, 3 of the 4 I can easily use to get 3 of the well-established hives out here queen right instantly. And if there's a 4th, because I'm not done yet for the day, I can do that too. And if there's not, I can find space for at least 1 more, right? All right, I got a few more hives to go, so keep on watching if you're enjoying it, and give it a thumbs up. I don't say that too much midway through a video. But yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe of course, and you know, share with your friends if you want to. All right, down here at 15, that has 2 supers, one pretty heavy, pretty darn full, the other one maybe coming along halfway. My notes for this one is they had signs of a new queen, and that was 2 weeks ago. And what I meant by that is some cells had multiple eggs, some had 1. So I just need to keep an eye on, or keep in mind, I just need to keep in mind that I'm looking for an unmarked queen. But honestly, as long as the brood pattern looks good, that is good with me today. Look at her. I mean, if that comes up, she is huge. And I don't really know what my notes were, because she has the smallest remnants of a blue dot. So, not sure what my notes were all about. Yeah, check her out. Beautiful. All right, just gonna let her dry off and we'll get her released. All right, down here at 25, just for a routine inspection, I just wanted to give you a first look because it looks like they are increasing their hive population pretty nicely. I'd say that brood pattern's looking pretty good. And all the open cells you see right there, eggs and a young larva, young brood that just hasn't been capped yet. So they seem to be doing just fine. Look at that frame. We're gonna have a lot of bees here very, very soon. And in fact, with the amount of open cells over here, oh yeah, she's taking advantage of every open cell. Eggs in every single one of them. Yeah, check that out. I've decided to keep a few of the swarms or nukes that I've made by making a split. I've decided to keep them in a 5-frame pro nuke because I've had quite a few people interested in purchasing, there she is right there, in purchasing a nuke, but I don't know, I feel like some folks just have commitment issues, or maybe it was just a good idea at the time and they changed their mind. All right, down here at number 8, the very last hive for the very last inspection of the day. And it doesn't get much easier. So this is frame number 2. This is the side that faces inside the hive. Probably won't come up, but eggs, larvae, all the things you want to see. And the side that faces the outside of the hive, check that out. This is a heavy frame. I'm gonna go through them just because I'm here, really curious to see if I can find the queen, or more so what at least a few more frames look like as far as brood goes. But I can't ask for an easier inspection, which internally, that little voice inside my head says, I wish every single inspection was that easy and that quick. You pull the second frame and you find eggs, larvae, awesome food, stores, just all the things you want to see. So there's really no reason to go through the rest of them, but since this is the last inspection for the day, I mean, why not, right? The super they have on, they have a queen excluder, so the super they have on, it's still kind of light. So maybe and hopefully, right, once all this brood hatches out and gives them a really big boost in population, and the nurse bees, when the nurse bees become a little older and become forage bees, hopefully their population really takes off and increases their foraging force to where they can really bring in a ton of food, a ton of nectar, and cure it to honey right in the last crucial month of the season, which is June, May and June, I guess. All right, so far I have not found her, and I have 2 more frames to go, but that is not unusual to find the queen on the very last frame because she is just trying to avoid you. So I'm still looking and she's still hiding, but I mean, check this out. There are quite a few deep frames in several colonies that are very tempting to harvest. Oh, there she is right there. Easy day. You see her? Green dot? Doing a fantastic job. This is one of those real dark queens too, which is kind of cool. All right, let's get them put back together. She's doing a fantastic job and can't ask for anything else. It's finished up, and considering it's been 15 to 18 days for those 10 colonies, today went pretty well, meaning there's only 3 that I remember, which is the colonies with some of them with the most supers. So 2 based off memory, 14, and I think number 5. Those 3 are really good candidates to have one of the swarms that's currently in the backyard to combine one of those swarms with. Instantly gives them a boost in population, to include brood, some more food, not that that's a problem, but most importantly it gives them a mated and laying queen, which right now 5 doesn't have any resources to do so. 2 I don't remember. 14 may have, but I don't want to delay those colonies from becoming queen right any longer, considering maybe 6 weeks of the nectar flow left, right? So I just looked at my phone, the weather app. We have some rain in the next 10 to 15 minutes, which is a really good time to finish up. And I'm just going to pop the tops on a few, if not all, of the colonies that I added a box to 5 days ago with new foundation that I waxed. So again, that's 26, 17, 4, 3, 7, 9, and 10. I'm going to move pretty quick. I'll show you anything worthwhile and I'll talk about it to wrap up this part of mid-May's video. 5 days, right? I'm anticipating, hoping that they've started to really build some wax, if I can tell. I'm not really counting on it, again, because it's only been 5 days, but you never know. So again, rain in 10 minutes, about 8, right? 8 colonies to pop the top and look at those newly added boxes from less than a week ago. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so this is 20, which was that fantastic swarm I caught. Fantastic meaning I left them in the stacked 5-frame nuke configuration for about 3 weeks. They completely drew out all 10 frames. This is one of the colonies again that I added a box to. I added a deep 10 frames, brand new foundation that I waxed. The fact that there are this many bees in the top box makes me very hopeful. It doesn't look like they're doing too much just yet. I'm gonna pull maybe the center frame to take a look, but again, it's only been 5 days. But the fact that there's that many bees up there, that's a good thing. All right, hey, I stand corrected. That is a decent amount of work for 5 days. So that is frame number 6, frame number 7 right next to it. Basically the frames in the center. They are doing a really good job. So maybe in 2 weeks, they'll have that pretty much drawn out. The queen can start laying in it a little bit, and then I'll come in, consolidate her to the bottom, and let them run that as a super for the rest of the season. All right, down here at 6, same thing as 20. Oh yeah, okay. Well shoot, waxing the frames might be a pretty good thing. So not only they've drawn that much wax out in just 5 days, but they're already starting to store food in it. And in fact, the next frame looks even better. At least the side that faces the inside of the hive. Man, they have that thing glued down too. Oh yeah, check that out. And the queen's up here. She's already laying. Okay. Good idea, me. Yeah, they've drawn that much wax out and it's enough for her to already start to lay in. So I'm gonna give them until about the middle of the month. So another, let's just say another week. So next weekend, I'll come back out and check on these. Oh yeah, she started laying this one too. Check on them, and hopefully they've drawn enough wax out by then to where I can add a queen excluder and run them as supers for the last, at that point, maybe the last 6 weeks of the season. All right, down here at 17, I just pulled a few frames. They are not doing they're not making as much progress as the other 2 that I just showed you. So this is what I'm gonna do. And if you saw that part of the video from, from whenever that was, I was in a bit of a hurry and I added these boxes after dark. So the point I'm trying to get to is, now that I'm out here and I have time, I'm going to reverse these boxes to where now I'm bottom supering them. And hopefully that gives the bees enough motivation to start passing through now the deep that has the 10 frames with heavily waxed foundation, to start drawing that out. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with 4 for the same reasons. Added the box after dark. I just wanted to get it on the hive, and now that I have the time, good God, this is a heavy super. Reverse them, put the deep with the 10 frames that are heavily waxed directly above the brood chamber. Take the well-established super, put that up top, aka bottom supering, and hopefully the bees will start working that medium box, which is now the deep, more than they have been, to draw it out and use it as a honey super. All right, now I'm officially done. I am surprised to say and see how much progress some of the colonies have made in just 5 days. And for some of the colonies, like maybe number 6, that I just added a deep box, no queen excluder just yet, to see that the queens already started to move up into the top box is fantastic. And I didn't show all this, or I didn't show much of what I did just now, but I ended up reversing, or more so bottom supering, quite a few of the boxes, the deeps, to put them directly on top of the brood chamber, directly on top of the queen excluder, and then moved 1 or 2 established supers to the top. So the thought process, if you don't know, with that is, now the bees from the brood chamber and from the bees that are tending to the super have to pass through that new box, that deep, and hopefully that prompts them, entices them just a little more to start working those frames, now that they have to pass through it and spend more time on the frame surfaces. All right, that does it for me. I may get out here tomorrow to combine, like I said a few times probably, to combine at least 3 of the swarms that I have in the backyard with 3 of the very well established colonies, to get them queen right for all those reasons. So if I have time tomorrow, I will show you that. Also weather dependent, because like I mentioned a few minutes ago, we got some weather moving in. And then looking at tomorrow's forecast, it doesn't look all that great. However, things change rather quickly around here. For instance, canceled an event at work on Friday that was going to be outside for the majority of the day, and then Friday was a beautiful day. So hopefully I can get that same luck tomorrow to give me some valuable time tomorrow or early in the week to combine a few swarms with some of the colonies. All right, stay tuned for the rest of mid-May's video. Good morning. So it is Sunday, May 11th, 8:45. The temperature is 67 degrees. The humidity is right around 77%. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know that I am not in the bees this early. So why am I up this early to do things with the bees? Well, let me show you a few things and then we'll talk about it. So you'll notice a few ladders and a few hives gone from the backyard. I was out here last night. I decided it was time to move a few of the swarms that I transferred into Pro Nukes and 5-frame equipment back into the yard. So I closed them up last night and did just that. And then for number 21 right here, they were down in this general area. I moved them over here and then got up this morning to discover this. So I'm just going to stand them up. I'll take a quick look, but really it's just a matter of standing them up and then putting them on more level ground. So since I had to get suited up to take care of that one, I figured why not go out into the yard and take care of a few other things, which from yesterday's video y'all saw There's 3 hives that are queenless. I'm calling them queenless. 2 of them are pretty large production hives. The 3rd has potential. So I'm gonna use a few of the swarms that I caught within the last month to get them queen right. And then for, I don't remember the number, but it was over here on the smaller ladder, the stacked 5 frame. I'm gonna use them to add, well, that's what I'm gonna do to get number 5 queen right. Queen right, and then a boost in population. So let me go take care of this one first, and then I'll show you a few things, what I'm talking about for the other hives. All right, so here's the plan. So based off what I saw yesterday, I'm gonna use number 22, which was one of the earlier swarms. They've been doing an okay job in the bottom box. The top box I added maybe a week or so ago. Not doing too much, which is fine, because the 1 or 2 frames in the bottom box that the queen has been really working and using, that's really all I need in number 2 to get them queen right. So I plan on caging her. Wings already clipped, did all those things, and she's marked. I plan on caging her in a JZBZ cage, introducing her to the bottom box in between a few frames, right? How you typically introduce a queen. Moving the few frames that are established down into 2, and they're good to go. And then maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, release her from the queen cage. Number 14 had several new frames that they're not really doing much with, so that's actually a good thing right now, because I'm going to use what I've been referring to as nuke number 1, which was the very last nuke down the hive stand. They have maybe 3-4 frames usable, which is perfect. I'm going to move them down into the bottom box, do all the same things with introducing the queen. She's marked, wings clipped. I just need to get her in a JZBZ, and then same thing as number 2. Number 5 right here, they've been queenless long enough to where they need some help. So I'm actually going to take number 23, which was one of the more recent swarms. I don't remember which number right now, but I'm going to take 23, take all 10 frames out of the stacked nuke configuration, move them over into a 10 frame box, and then with the newspaper method, which I haven't done in years, I'm just going to simply put the newspaper between the 2 deeps, and then over the course of a week or so, they should chew through it and combine nicely. So I'm not going to cage that queen. I'm just going to move her into the 10 frame box. So essentially she'll be the top 10 frame, move the honey super on top the box I'm about to add, and then just check on them come about midweek. So really not a lot to do. The most difficult, or potential most difficult part of all this is getting the queens caged. But if you haven't noticed, the weather is not great. It's supposed to rain. It already has drizzled just a little bit, and bees are usually not in their best temperament given this kind of weather. So knowing that from experience, I have the smoker lit. That thing is super smoky today because I plan on using it, and a lot of it, so they don't just hammer me all day long while I'm out here just to do a few quick things. So I'll show you a few clips, whatever I think is interesting worth sharing, but that's the plan for today. Just like that, within minutes, it's already started to rain. So I'm gonna move relatively quick with number 5. Oh yeah. They do not sound happy at all. This is exactly why I wanted to use this colony to get number 5 right. They haven't really done much with the top box. Essentially it's just 5 new frames, but they've done enough in the bottom box. Yeah, she's doing a great job. right now I'm just trying to beat the rain. Terrible timing to try and do all this, but what can you do half the time, right? All right, let me move this out of the way. Take the super off number 5, add the newspaper, and then combine them. Just one sheet. You don't need any more than that. And then I'll add this. If you've never done this before, it's not rocket science. Like I said earlier, it's been a few years since I've done this, but it worked out pretty nice last time. And then just like any other combination, I take the time to just get all the bees out of the box that I'm transferring. And then close them up. And that's that. All right, so number 5 should be in a better spot here in a week or two. Something just caught my eye, and as much as I don't want to share this, check this out. Who knows what happened? She may have got rolled, damn, by one of the frames. Okay, well, I'm gonna make a note of that in Hive Tracks. I guess the positive, if there's any positive to all this, is they have enough resources for the bees to make a queen, so I'm just gonna have to keep my eye on that. Damn, that is unfortunate. There's no telling what happened. Maybe just when I carried the hive over here last night, or pulling the frames just now, she just happened to be between some of the bars and got rolled. That's extremely unfortunate. No, she just crawled in the hole. I just banged her on top of the inner cover, so we'll see. Something to check on in a few days. Okay, that did not take as long as I was thinking. Found her on the first frame, got her caged, and then got her moved over into the JZBZ. So now I just need to take whichever one this is, I think 14 apart, get down into the bottom box, add these frames to it, slide her between a few frames, and that'll be it for that one. All right, I was able to get the 5 frames out of 14, added the 5 frames from nuke number 1, the queen, and I need to remember to come out in 2 to 3 days because obviously she's not going to be able to get out of the electrical tape. This is really just to get her pheromones circulated, and then I'll release her come maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. It's just before 9:30. I'm gonna call it for now because of the rain, but the last one I have to do is this one over here, which is to get number 2, I believe. To get number 2 right, yeah, so I'm gonna use 22 to get number 2, but surprisingly that went pretty well. I mean, finding the queen on the very first frame and the pro nuke helped. I got her caged very easy, and then just a matter of getting down into the bottom box, moving the frames that they haven't really been doing much with, adding the frames from the pro nuke. So overall not bad. And then same thing with number 5, using hive number 20, or I'm sorry, 23. So that's what I've decided to do if I combine hives this year. I'm just going to take the tag that was from the hive that I combined with the other, add it to the box, just to kind of keep things accurate regarding records and what's happened. And then in the meantime, I'll update Hive Tracks. It is right before 12:30. We got a decent rain. I don't really pay attention to how much, but everything is wet. I've been out here in the yard for just a little bit to get a jump start on the last part of today, which is getting, I don't remember, so I'm gonna walk around real quick. Probably said it earlier, but since I'm out here, getting number 22 prepped to combine with number 2. So I was able to find the queen. I got her caged in a JZBZ. So now it's just a matter of moving a few frames down into number 2's deep box and introducing the queen. I'll show you a few clips as I get down to them, because again, they are one of the hives that has 3 supers. And like I said earlier, at least I think I did, this kind of weather, the bees are usually pretty feisty. So I got the smoker going. I'll use as much as I can, but I plan on being very quick. Just like the previous hive, I got her caged, electrical tape. So I know I need to get out here in about 2 days, no later than Wednesday, give or take. And this is why I wanted to move these frames over and combined the 2 colonies, because she's doing great. And with how well number 22's been doing with brood, and then how well number 2's been doing with storing honey. Alright, so decision point, because that's a semi-decent frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need 2 frames between these 2, and there's a lot of new frames, unfortunately. So I'm just going to put some new frames on the outside as frame number 1 and 10, which is fairly common. So the center 8 will be nice established frames, and that's pretty much it for this one. We're good to go. I'm going to get all the supers put back on, and then as usual, oh, that's heavy, I'll put the nuke on the ground in front of the colony, and whatever bees are remaining, they'll make their way into this box throughout the day. I ended up pulling the 5 frames out of the nuke box here, just so they don't, well, they have less of a reason to go back to it. I'm going to take those with me and move them into a Pro Nuke. So this is kind of cool, at least I think so, and I wanted to share with y'all. So number 5, right? Combined them maybe a few hours ago. Look at that. They are already chewing out the newspaper that's between the boxes. They don't mess around. That does it for me for this Sunday. Very quick work, some rollover work from yesterday, right? So I'm just gonna leave the 2 nukes out here on the ground for the better part of the day. I'll come check on them later, and if all the bees are out, I will take them back or put them on the other stand for storage. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with today. Quick work, got the queen's cage very easily. So number 5, as y'all saw, I'm definitely curious to see what happens. That queen seems like she was damaged in the move. Threw her in the box, she crawled down in there, so we'll see. But like I said earlier, they have enough resources now to make another queen. And then number 2 should be moving along just fine, and 14 also. 14 and number 2, I'm gonna give them maybe Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday at the latest, to pull off the electrical tape and release those queens. And then if we come down here, something I need to do is open up. This is swarm number 10, which does not have a number. So I need to figure out, actually, I have one last marker, and it's number 0, which is unique-ish. But yeah, that's it for me. Much needed rain. The bees were not as spicy as I thought they would be, but sometimes I guess you never know. All right, here we go. So it is Wednesday, May 14th, right around 4 p.m. and I am about to make my way out to the yard to release the 2 caged queens, which I believe are in hive number 2 and number 14. And as y'all saw, I did all that on Sunday. So over the last 48 hours, we received about 5 to 7 inches of rain. It's muggy, it's humid, there's cloud cover. The yard is extremely wet. I'm not sure how the bee's temperament is going to be. So I guess we will find out together as soon as I get out there. So that's it for today. Really just releasing those 2 queens so they can start laying, building up the population to really finish the season strong, which is the rest of May leading into June. So let's get to it. Just a quick first look. That is a beautiful sight and sound. Colonies are doing absolutely great. 25 seems to be booming. All right, just got all the supers off of number 2. It does not look like the bees messed with the electrical tape at all, which was that was the idea of using it. Well, shoot, hold on. Oh, okay. Disregard. I was mistaken. That's kind of cool. It looks like they just opened it up. So I'm just gonna pull a frame or 2, quick inspection to see if she started to lay since she was a mated queen. Hey, there she is right there. And I found some eggs and some larvae that's just a few days old, so awesome. Number 2 is back on track. Nice to see. That was a good idea, using one of the there she is right there on the bottom on your right side. Yeah, using one of the swarms to get this colony queen right again. Right, down here 14, same thing. Just got all the supers off. Let's see if they release their queen. That'd be interesting to see, right? Nope, she's still in there. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe those are just worker bees that got in there. Okay. No kidding. That's kind of... Oh no, she's still in there. Okay, she is still in there. They opened it up, but she's still in there. Let's pop the top and get her out of there. She just she just crawled out. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right, there she goes. They seem content with her, so all is well. I'm gonna say all is well with 14. They're accepting her. She's making her way down. All right, so by next week they should have some pretty nice frames of brood. All right, down here at 4, which was the 2 swarms I combined, or the one swarm I combined, or the nuke I think I combined with this colony. So as you can see, I mean, it looks like they made pretty quick work of the newspaper. And as y'all saw previously, it looks like that queen got rolled in the move, or either moving the box out here, or as I was pulling frames to move them from the nuke into this setup. So I actually forgot I have a queen excluder, and I'm just looking to see if she's dead on top of this thing. So if she's not, because I don't see her, I'm gonna get into this deep box and see if I can find any eggs. All right, this is the 3rd frame, which is a nice looking brood frame, right? Right over here, there are not many cells, but there are a few that have an egg in them, and then not so much on this side. But considering it's been a few days, some of this very young larva was an egg just a few days ago, and I introduced the queen on Sunday. So let's see how the next few frames look, and I am mentally switching gears to hopefully find her. That would be an added bonus, because with how she was looking, rolling around on the frame and everything, it didn't look too good for her. So we'll see. maybe she just got bumped and she wasn't as bad as she looked. I'm just finishing up with number 4 here. I did not find the queen in the deep box, and I did not find the queen in the medium box. And the reason I checked those is because of the queen excluder, which you can see now I am putting above both deep boxes. Surprisingly, there's enough cells with eggs and very young larvae to include a few queen cells, so I'm just gonna give them the better part of a week and check back to see if they have a laying queen. So it is Thursday, May 15th, just after 4 o'clock. Temperature is 87 degrees, humidity is 60%, and I am out here to just get into 3 hives, which is 12, 16, and 19. Some of the recent weather postponed my inspection cycle, and now those 3 hives are either at 14 days or just over. Of those 3, number 16 is the only one I need to pay extra attention to because my notes from the last inspection said it looked like they had swarmed recently and there were a few queen cells. So I just need to keep my eye out for possibly an unmarked queen, get her marked, clip her wing if I can find her, and call it a day. So let's get to it. There's a few more bees flying around in the backyard than usual, especially now that a lot of the swarm traps have been moved into the bee yard. And it's pretty busy out here, so I don't know if that's just weather or there's some event happening or about to happen. So let's walk around to the front, show you the entrances. It does seem like we might get some rain here in a little bit. Maybe that has something to do with it, but not sure. Maybe a whole lot of new bees emerged and a whole lot of orientation flights, or maybe they are just enjoying a break in the weather. But I'm just looking on the ground. I don't see anything unusual, so yeah, just a lot of flight activity right now. Okay, yeah, that's the game plan. Really just getting into those 3 colonies. I'm just taking a look at the 2 swarm traps on the path here. Surprisingly, they have not really been busy this year at all. I don't think I've caught 1 swarm in them. All the swarms I caught have come from primarily the backyard. So all right, yeah, scanning the trees, I don't see anything abnormal. So let's get into those 3 hives. Pay a little extra attention to 16, which is down in the nuke here. The other 2, hopefully everything goes well. Based on my notes, the last inspection about 2 weeks ago, there was nothing to really worry about. Queen right, everything looked good, so this should be just a routine inspection today. All right, very second frame. I didn't show you all this, but the honey super is really drawn out nicely, and there's some eggs up here, so no doubt they are doing just fine. In fact, they could probably use another box. So I may be waxing some frames today because I didn't prep any additional boxes than the last 8 that I added to some other colonies about maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. Yeah, there she is right there, doing a phenomenal job. I mean, no kidding. Almost every cell. Let me cage her just because there are 3 remaining frames, and at this point, because they are kind of running out of space, I'm gonna just take a quick look at those last 3 frames to see if they're making any plans to swarm. But if they're not, I'll fire up the old crock pot tonight, wax another deep with 10 frames, and just give them the space because it looks like they are, 1, they need it, and 2, they're doing great. If my memory serves me right, they started off kind of slow this season, but you would never know right now. Yeah, they're looking good. Some nice frame. And the last frame looks like nothing but a food store. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, yeah, number 12. Number 12's looking great. All right, let's get her released. And there she goes. All right, down here at 19. I just peeked into the super. It looks good, it feels heavy. This should be a routine inspection as well, based on the notes from about 2 weeks ago. So I will show you anything worthwhile. All right, well that didn't take long. This is the inside of frame number 2, but check that out. This is a heavy frame, and I will most likely pull this one to harvest. The bees do an amazing job this time of year creating food frames. Oh yeah. Yeah, she's doing great. You can easily see eggs in every cell. Easy to find right there at the top of the frame. She's another kind of two-tone one. The tip of her abdomen is a lot darker than the portion of her abdomen close to her thorax. She is not wanting to be captured. But I got her anyway. Just like frame number 2. Holy smokes, that is awesome. All right, let's get her released, and she's out of here. All right, down here at 16, I'm not entirely sure what I saw last time. I just have to base my thoughts today off my notes, but having gone through the 5 frames pretty quickly, it does not look like they are queen right at all. It also doesn't look like they have a laying worker, considering it's been, I think, 18 days for this one. So what I'm thinking is, I am thinking of combining them with hive number 25, which is also in a Pro Nuke, three spaces down on the hive stand. And I think I'm going to combine them and put them in a stacked five frame configuration. There's no signs that they're queen right at all. No brood, no eggs, and nothing. So that's fine. It's not a total loss. They do have enough resources and bees to make just one good colony out of this one and 25. So might do that after dark or tomorrow. I'll try and share whatever I do, but it's kind of what I'm thinking for now. All right, down here at 25, and I just hit them with some smoke, but it looks like they're about ready to get moved into the stacked 5 frame configuration. And I just put the other 5 frame nuke on top of 16. I'll move the frames from the Pro Nuke into the 5 frame nuke at dusk or after dark, because there's still probably a decent amount of field bees out, and then just simply combine this box with what 25 is going to be moved into here in a second. Yeah, just a quick look. This is the very second frame. They're pretty calm, and they seem to be doing a nice job. They made nice work out of the Pro Nuke over the last several weeks. It's another nice frame. This is the 3rd frame that's right in the middle. Yeah, they're doing a nice job. I've not seen the queen just yet, surprisingly. There's one more frame. But I mean, there's no doubt they're queen right with the amount of eggs and very young larvae that's in here. All right, that does it for me today. It's just about 5 o'clock, so not much time to really go through those 3 hives to check on them, routine inspection, and then y'all saw with number 16, not looking good. No real need to kick that can down the road any further, so I'm just going to combine them with 25, like I said a few times. Looking at hive tracks, there's about 10 colonies that are going to come due in the next week, and I think I am just going to take care of them early, as in tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I haven't looked at all their details. I'm pretty sure most of them, if not all of them, are just routine inspections, so that should go pretty well, hopefully, right? And then I'm going to take some time to look at the 8 colonies that I added deeps to with the wax foundation, right, about 2 weeks ago. I'm really hoping they've started to draw that stuff out very nicely and packing away some nectar, especially since it's been about 2 weeks. So stay tuned for that. That's tomorrow's plans, the 10 colonies, and then taking a peek at the 8 deeps, just to kind of, it's out of curiosity, right? Really just to kind of gauge how much work they've done over the last few weeks. And then given that we have about five-ish weeks, maybe 6 weeks left in the nectar flow until the end of June, I'm really hoping they can fill those boxes. And then I'll get into the very last nuke, which has gone unnumbered this whole time. That's swarm number 10. I know I have not clipped that queen's wing. She is marked. I just haven't clipped her wing, so that's on the agenda also, just in case she gets a little swarmy. Okay, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next clip, which will be tomorrow. All the things that I said a few times just now. And that might wrap it up for the mid-May video. All right, here we go, folks. So it is Friday, May 16th, right at 3 p.m. and it is hot. It is 94 degrees, 51%. And it is that time of year where I start talking about heat indexes, and the heat index is 105. So with that said, I have about 10 hives that are about to come due in the Hive Track app, meaning they're at 10 days, so 10 to 14 days actually. So some of them are due, some of them will come due over the weekend. So as much as I want to get into all of them, looking back at the last inspection notes, it's really not necessary. So out of those 10, I have about 5 to 6 that I really want to get into, which are number 3. So based off the inspection from April 25th, they had a new queen that looked like she just started to lay. So for number 3, all I really want to do today is just look at the brood, or check for brood. Number 7, same thing. Number 18, that was the hive that I determined was queenless on April 24th. I moved 2 frames with 2 queen cells over to that one, so I'm going to be looking for signs that they're queen right, like usual. And then if they look like they're queen right, I'm going to try and find the queen, get her marked, clip her wing, do all the usual things. Number 9, it looked like they had a new queen on April 25th. So again, I'm just going to check the brood pattern. And number 21 is here in the backyard. I really just want to check the top box, see if the queen started to move up in there and lay, along with the rest of the bees tending to that, to the new brood. And then swarm number 10, they are in the pro nuke, which is unmarked. So I know they have a marked queen because I did that when I caught her out of the tree. So in addition to just conducting a quick inspection, I want to find the queen and clip her wing and then get them situated back into the pro nuke. So not much to do. I'm gonna move fairly quickly given the temperatures. So it's not gonna get any cooler. So let's get to it. Something else I wanted to mention and failed to do so in today's introduction was, don't sweat it, meaning it's not entirely necessary to get into the hives as often as I do for anybody that's new-ish to beekeeping. And the reason I say that is because I met a gentleman recently that keeps bees over in Greenville, which isn't really too far from us. And he mentioned, like, once he puts his honey supers on, he really only gets into the hives if something looks off with the entrances. And I can kind of see his point. Everybody keeps bees differently. That's why they're your bees. But I do see the point of how he keeps his based off judging by the front entrance activity, or probably lack thereof, being a reason to get into a hive. So especially today, days like today, where it is hot. This is a nice canopy right here, but the bees, the hives are generally in the direct sunlight. So I just wanted to share that. I thought that was, I don't know, just some information worth sharing. One additional thought, I promise. Let's go take a look at the front entrances. Oh, wow. You think, if you don't think it's as hot as I say it is, man, that's some serious bearding right there. The rest of the hives are, holy smokes, this is active out here. This is just fantastic to see. Hopefully they're bringing in some nectar now that the heat's here, the moisture's kind of dissipated. Hopefully they're hitting the second phase of the nectar flow. One last thought, right? That same gentleman I was referring to, we were talking a little bit this morning about the nectar flow. Greenville's not too terribly far from us. It's all eastern North Carolina, so generally the tulip poplar is starting to bloom again in his area. And I have some back here, if I can find it, to speak to. I don't see any right now, but yeah, hopefully he's right. Hopefully that's the situation for us here as well, because that is a great source of nectar. And as much as we needed rain, we got a ton of rain all at once, which seems like a good thing, but if you're keeping bees, sometimes that can be a bad thing because it washes away a lot of resources. But now that it started to dry out, like I was saying earlier, hopefully we're experiencing another flow, because all those deeps that I added, that would be fantastic if they could fill those in the next month. All right, enough of me yapping. Let's get into some hives. All right, just getting into number 3. They're a little feisty for some reason. This is frame number 2. But yeah, check that out. That is a heavy, heavy frame that I will probably harvest. This is usually a sign of a hive that is queenless when they're this feisty, but my notes said it looked like they had a new queen. That was about 2 weeks ago, so we'll see. All right, I'm on the very next frame, not necessarily this side, but the side that faces the right side of the hive. You can see that small patch of capped brood. Surrounding it is small larvae, and we have eggs, so it looks like they're doing just fine. Based off of how they're acting, you would think otherwise, but it looks like they have a queen, so I might just pull another frame or 2 and then close them up. All right, down here at 7 to do the same thing. Unfortunately, 7 is right next to number 3. So even though I walked away for a little bit and gave them a ton of smoke, the same aggressive bees that are buzzing me haven't really left. So I'm just doing the same thing in 7, pulling a few frames, really just looking for eggs, and that'll be good for me. Inside of frame number 2, surrounding that patch of capped brood, has some very, very, very small larvae. I didn't see any eggs, but it's safe to say they were probably an egg yesterday or the day before. And okay, I know this won't come up. Right here, surrounding some of that capped brood, there are some eggs. It's actually easy to see, even though it's in some pretty dark comb. So considering the agitation of some of these bees right here, I'm just gonna pull one more frame. I guess we can just do that together. No real concerns to look for the queen. That's just a bonus. But yeah, no kidding. I can see eggs right here, so they're doing fine. Yeah, they're doing just fine. So just a quick check based off my notes from the last inspection. So they're okay. No real concerns. They're good for another 10 to 14 days or so. And if you watch the channel for a little bit, you know sometimes I can't help myself and I end up pulling another frame as soon as I turn the camera off. So there she is, 100% eyes on. So good time to just get them boxed up and just move on to the next one. This time of year, and especially June and July, the name of the game is really trying to beat the heat. So that's like your safety brief right there. All right, down here at 18, my notes basically indicate I need to see if they're queen right. So it looks like I gave them a medium box. If they don't need this number 12 down in the very first position, they definitely do, judging by how much they were bearding. So I'll just keep that in mind. So this hive, it's been about, well, anywhere from 10 to 14 days. So I really need to see if they're queen right, like any typical inspection. And then if I see eggs, if I can find the queen, fantastic. But honestly, given today's temps and how some of the bees are acting still, I'm not terribly concerned with that. All right, so the inside of frame number 2, I know this won't come up, or probably won't come up, but very small larva, and then we have some eggs. So this hive's being a little more tolerable than the others. I'm gonna make it a point to try and find the queen, mark her, clip her wing, and then get her put back. If I don't find her, it's not a big deal, but since I'm in here and they seem to have one, why not just take a few minutes and try and find her? And there she is right there. Go figure. On one of the last few frames. Now she's crawling on to the other side. Easy day. The stickiness of the colonies is making it very difficult. My gloves are sticking together, and every time I pick up the hive tool, it's hard to get it out of my hands. I was just trying to keep that in mind as I was setting the queen clip down, so I didn't accidentally apply too much pressure and open it up. All right, let's get her marked and then get everything put back together here in a second. But she's a nice looking one. She's doing a good job. All right, marked and clipped. Easy. I don't know why I have not been doing this all these years. Trying to get her out, but all the bees want to go in. Happens almost every time. Trying to help her out. Come on. Other way. What is going on here? All right, there she goes. All right, down here in what I know as swarm number 10, they have gone unnumbered for the last 2, maybe 3 weeks. That box is pretty packed out. So I'm gonna move the 5 frames from the Pro Nuke into the green nuke box, stack the white nuke box on top, which has 5 very heavily waxed frames, and then just check on them in probably about 2 weeks or so. I got pretty lucky. She was crawling around on the very first frame. Hopefully you can see her. She's a pretty fat lady. That's swarms though. Swarms are awesome. They're usually very strong, ready to get going. All right, swarm number 10, queen, now has a clipped wing, and I'm gonna have to remind myself. There she goes right there. I'm gonna have to remind myself which number this is. All right, swarm number 10 is now number 22. I'm gonna crack that top box because I forgot I completely closed up the green nuke. Left it closed when I transferred a colony over here. I don't have a screwdriver with me, so I'm just gonna crack the box to let all the field bees in. But yeah, swarm number 10 is now number 22. I'll look back on my videos to figure out when I caught them, so on and so forth, just so I can get hive tracks up to date and accurate. Over here at 21, they've had great activity over the last few weeks. I left them in place for a lot longer than I thought because my plans were to have them into the bee yard by now. I might actually do that tonight by closing up the entrance, or I might not really. For today, I'm just gonna undo the ratchet strap and really take a look at the top box. I'm very curious over the last maybe close to 2 weeks, just to see how much progress or lack thereof that this colony's made in the top box, which contains 5 frames that were nicely waxed. All right, since this isn't the best camera angle, I'm just gonna let the camera roll for a little bit. Okay, they've actually been doing some work, but it looks like one of the plastic foundations popped out probably when the probably when the box fell over with one of those recent storms. All right, I don't see the queen on here, so I'm gonna try and get this foundation kind of situated where it should be. Yeah, overall not bad. They're working the foundation. So I guess the silver lining is they have plenty of room. Oh, what happened here? We have some mystery foundation. Where did that go? Oh, actually, I see what happened. That foundation fell off and popped right in place into the frame right next to it. Check this out. Yep, look at that. All right, I'm just gonna do the same thing. Try and get this popped back into place so it's not a total bust. That does it for me, folks. It's just about 4:20. So the second video of each month, the mid-month video, time frame is usually the 10th to the 20th of the month, right? But considering how today went, considering my notes over the last 2 weeks, and with how the next few days look weather-wise, I'm just gonna wrap everything up today for the mid-month video. So hopefully you enjoyed what I've shared, what I've been up to with the bees. I can't say it enough. This season has been absolutely fantastic. So if you like the video, obviously, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. And then stay tuned towards the end of the month or early June. It kind of depends when that first Wednesday is following the last day in the month. That's usually when I try to publish the videos. So depending when that day is, stay tuned for the last video for May, which will be late May. I'm just leaving all the supers in place this year. Last year I pulled frames and supers as they were ready, but this year with the amount of honey we have, I wanted to transition back to the semi-traditional bulk harvest versus doing a lot of mini or micro harvests throughout the season. And I have my work cut out for me because there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's at least 21 mediums that are pretty darn full, a handful of others that might be halfway, and then those 8 deeps that I added maybe a week ago that I am very hopeful the last 6 weeks in the season really picks up and the bees can fill those deeps. That would be absolutely fantastic. But again, thanks for watching. Cole's Farm here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you are interested in local honey, please reach out to us around the July 4th holiday. That is my plan, to have our honey harvested, bottled, and available for purchase. That's the goal. And the best way to really determine when everything is available to purchase is just simply follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I will definitely make a post when we have honey available, and at that point just get in touch with me. And there are various ways to do that: Instagram and Facebook, DMs or Messenger. If you look us up on Google Maps, the phone number's on there. In fact, the phone number's everywhere. It's on Instagram, Facebook, and Yelp, and Google Maps. If you call, please leave a voicemail. The best way to reach me is by text. Just let me know who you are, what you're looking for, and we will coordinate plans to get some of our extremely delicious local and raw honey into your hands. We may have more available this year than any other year, which is fantastic. However, I'll say this much, historically, no matter how much honey we have harvested, we typically sell out around the holidays, around Christmas. So the reason I say that is because this time of year when the seasons change, we have a lot of people reach out to us asking for local honey, and unfortunately I have to tell them we're sold out, which is the case for a lot of beekeepers. So if you want some, you got to get some as early as possible because it does not last long. All right, that's all for me. Hopefully y'all enjoy mid-May's video. Stay tuned for the last video of May, which will be released towards the end of the month. See y'all next time.